You're under arrest for the murder of William and Hilda Stone.
Everything is going according to plan.
These tests can't be right. Run them again. I can't be.
Lori, I can't do this. I can't let you get hurt.
Jacob, if you keep trying to get Nyla out, you might end up in there with her.
The Stone Empire is crumbling.
Your family got her into this, Jacob. Fix it.
Jacob, what are we going to do?
We're gonna fight like hell. Say less I love you. Season 4, Episode 2.
Chapter 313. Alexander. I'm still floating on the memory of Lori's warmth when my driver turns onto a quiet, tree-lined street leading to my townhouse. The city's pulse fades behind us, replaced by the hush of upscale brownstones and dim street lamps. The blissful feeling from earlier starts to ebb away, though, because the moment we approach the front gate, I notice something's off. There's a dark sedan idling at the curb, a car I recognize from the old days, tinted windows that hide men who carry messages I rarely want to hear. My chest tightens. So much for a peaceful night. The driver stops. Before I can even open my door, one of my men, Yuri, steps out of that sedan. He's broad, in a dark coat, every inch the enforcer. His face is grim, eyes flicking to me as I exit. I'd hoped to savor the afterglow of my time with Lori a bit longer, but it seems my responsibilities have found me first. "Boss," Yuri says, inclining his head. "We have a situation." I clench my jaw, mentally bracing for trouble. What kind of situation? He gestures for me to come closer, lowering his voice. "It's about Ivan. He tried to kill himself." A spike of disbelief and anger flares in me. "Tried?" I echo. "Is he?" "He's alive," Yuri clarifies quickly. "But it was close. The old guard insisted he not be turned over to the hospital. We took him to a private facility. The Solikov med team is handling it." He glances toward the townhouse door. "They want you there now. Some of the old members are raising questions about how to deal with him." I exhale slowly, fists clenching. Ivan. Just his name conjures a tumult of conflicting emotions. He was once a figurehead, a legend in the organization, but I wrested control from him not so long ago. I set out to reshape the business into something new. Less blood, more legitimacy. But some of the old loyalists still revere him. If he's tried to kill himself, that complicates everything. "Fine," I say curtly, ignoring the ache of exhaustion creeping through my limbs. "Take me there." 15 minutes later, we're gliding through a discreet entrance to a lavish estate, repurposed as a clandestine medical center. Officially, it doesn't exist. Unofficially, it's where the Solikov organization handles its most sensitive health matters, where certain people are nursed back to life or quietly disposed of, depending on the decision from the top. I climb out of the car. The crisp night air has turned colder, sending a faint chill across my skin. My footsteps echo on the gravel path, leading to an imposing set of double doors. Armed men stand guard. They nod at me, deference in their eyes, though I sense tension roiling beneath the surface. They're uneasy. This is Ivan, after all. Inside, the corridors are lined with expensive art and the sterile hush of a high-end hospital. No fluorescent harshness here. Soft, recessed lights give everything a subdued glow. I pass a guard station. One of the older men, Oleg, lifts his head in greeting. He's part of that old circle who was loyal to Ivan for years. He doesn't smile. "In there," he mutters, gesturing toward a thick wooden door at the end of the hall. We have him under sedation, but watch yourself. Watch myself? I bite back a retort. I'm in charge now, so they say. But the old guard doesn't fully accept me. Not yet. I push open the door. The room is large, more like a lavish suite than a hospital room. A wide bed with crisp white sheets dominates the center, monitors quietly beeping. The private medical team stands to one side. A doctor in a tailored suit. A nurse flipping through a chart. At the foot of the bed are two more men, part of the Solikov detail, stony-faced. Then there's Ivan. He lies propped against pillows, an EV running into his arm. His eyes are half-lidded, but when he hears me enter, they snap open with startling clarity. The lines of his face are more pronounced than I remember. He looks older, worn down by captivity. But a spark of that old cunning glimmers behind the sedation. "Alexander," he says, voice raspy. "Come to gloat?" I fold my arms over my chest, stepping closer. "Hardly. Word is you tried to end it all. Are we supposed to throw you a pity party?" He gives a short, rasping laugh that makes the monitors beep in protest. One of the nurses scolds him to keep calm, but he ignores her. "They said I can't talk to anyone," Ivan continues. "Yet here you are." I glance at the nurse, who lowers her gaze. Probably none of them dared bar me from seeing him. "I'm here to figure out what the hell you pulled," I say, voice tight. "We have enough problems without you staging a suicide attempt. Or was it real?" He shrugs, wincing. "Does it matter? They can sedate me all they want, keep me under guard so I don't talk. They want me quiet, don't want to risk law enforcement involvement, the old ways. But you fancy yourself new." My jaw tenses. They wanted to keep it in-house, yes. Handing you over to the police would be messy. So, they're handling you with their own approach. He smirks, though it's a shadow of his old arrogance. And you're letting them do it? Because you think that seat you occupy is secure? I step closer to the bed. It is secure. I'm in control now, in case you forgot. He studies me with narrowed eyes, then coughs a raspy chuckle. "You think wearing the crown means you're all-powerful?" I scan the monitors, noticing his vitals are stable. He looks more lucid than a near-suicide patient has any right to be. "What's your angle, Ivan? If you truly tried to kill yourself, you must have lost all hope. But it sounds like you're playing some game." He shifts, wincing as if in pain. "Let me guess. They told you I almost managed it. Maybe a slit wrist or a drug overdose. Doesn't matter which. They don't want you to know the details, do they?" I grit my teeth. He's right. I have no specifics, just that I got a summons to come here. "Stop talking in riddles," I mutter. His gaze turns icy. "You're naive, Alexander. You may have dethroned me, but I've still got cards to play." He takes a labored breath. "You think you're powerful because you sit at my old desk? Because a handful of captains swear loyalty to you?" My blood boils. "I think I've stabilized what you almost destroyed with your old vendettas. I'm forging a new path." He scoffs, a scornful sound. "New path? You're standing on centuries of tradition. The old guard doesn't just vanish because you want them to. People followed me because I commanded loyalty. You? You have no idea the extent of what they'll do when they sense weakness. I tighten my fists, forcing my voice to stay calm. I'm not weak, and you can't manipulate me with empty threats. If you're hoping to stage a power comeback, you'll remain locked down. This entire facility answers to me now. He inclines his head, mockingly. So the nurse, the sedation, the guards, that's all you? Sure. He flashes a grim smile, revealing yellowed teeth. But it won't last. One of the med team doctors clears his throat. Sir, we should let him rest. He's still recovering from... Ivan waves a hand dismissively. Don't coddle me, doctor. Or is that what the new boss wants? His eyes shift back to me. If you're wise, you'll kill me quickly. Because the secrets I hold, they can bury you. The frustration in me spikes. I glance around, noticing the tension in the guards' postures. None of them want me to lose my cool. I address Ivan in a low hiss. I'm not a murderer. That's your style. I won't stoop to it just because you run your mouth. He gives me a pitying look. And that is why you'll fail. You can't be half in, half out. If you want to lead the Solokovs, you must own the blood on your hands, or it'll catch up to you. Before I can retort, the door opens and two older men step in. Mikhail and Leonid, both with stern faces etched by decades of loyalty to Ivan's reign. They cast a glance at me, then at Ivan in the bed. Alexander, Mikhail says, voice clipped. We appreciate you coming so late. Leonid nods, ignoring me for a second to check Ivan's IV drip. We heard you spoke with him, he tells me quietly. I shift my stance. Yes, though there's not much to glean. He's spouting nonsense about how I'll fail and how he's still powerful. Ivan barks a raspy laugh. Nonsense? If only you knew how many are waiting for you to slip. He coughs, wincing as the monitors beep. I see you brought your loyal hounds. Or are you the hound, Alex? Leonid shoots Ivan a warning glare, but says nothing. Mikhail turns to me, speaking in a hushed tone. He tried to overdose on certain pills we'd let him have for pain. Must have saved up enough to do real damage. By the time we found him, he was barely breathing. The doc pumped his stomach and stabilized him. I cast a sidelong glance at the doctor, who nods in confirmation. So it was real. Ivan truly tried to die. A swirl of confusion grips me. Did he lose hope, or is it a ploy to evoke sympathy or chaos? Leonid exhales. Look, this is complicated. We can't hand him over to the cops, not with everything he knows. And we can't release him either, for obvious reasons. So we keep him under guard, medically stable until we stabilize everything. The old ways, you see. Fine, I say, crossing my arms. Do what you must, but we can't have him attempting suicide every other day. Or worse, staging escapes. Secure him properly. Ivan's laugh, harsh and low, echoes again. I won't attempt anything else, not for the moment. The bigger question is, how long can you keep me locked away? The old members want me alive, ironically. They fear letting our secrets leak. But that's your problem. I shoot him a glare. You're not part of the solution, so yes, it's my problem, and I'll solve it without your help. He smirks. You think I have no more power simply because I'm in a bed? People still pledge loyalty to me. They're just biding their time, waiting to see if you slip. If I call, they might come scrambling to break me out or orchestrate your downfall. Then you'll see how fragile your hold is. Anger flares in me, but Mikhail places a hand on my shoulder. Alexander, we can handle his security. If you'd like, we can triple the guard. Keep him sedated. The old guard just wants to ensure you're not going to do anything rash. My jaw clenches. Rash? Like have him assassinated? My voice is thick with frustration. No, I told you. I'm not stooping to that. But if he tries again, or if an escape attempt emerges, I want to be informed immediately. Mikhail nods. Understood. He glances at Ivan, who's breathing heavily, eyes half-lidded. The sedation is likely pulling him under. He's stable for now. We'll keep an eye on him. Ivan's gaze lifts for one final barb, though his voice is weaker. Enjoy your seat while you can. This isn't the end of everything. Then his eyes flutter closed. The nurse checks his vitals, ensuring he's drifting into sedation, not another suicide attempt. I stand there, a sour taste in my mouth. The hush in the room is oppressive. Finally, I turn on my heel and head for the door. Mikhail and Leonid follow me out, the corridor's overhead lights feeling painfully bright after the gloom of that suite. As soon as the door shuts behind us, I whirl on them. You realize the risk in keeping him alive? He's stirring dissent. Some of the men still see him as the real authority. Leonid crosses his arms. We know, but the old circle insisted we not harm him. They want to keep him quiet in our own way. I let out a sharp breath. He might not remain quiet for long, if he finds a way to communicate with the outside. Mikhail lifts a hand. We've confiscated all means. No phones, no visitors without clearance. It's nearly solitary confinement, but with medical care. The guards outside are loyal to the new regime. He can't talk to them. We rotate shifts so no one grows sympathetic. I nod curtly. Fine. Then ensure no more slip-ups. If he's stockpiling pills, that indicates sloppy oversight. My voice tightens. I don't want a second attempt, or an actual success next time. He needs to pay for what he did. Leonid's expression is uneasy. I've already replaced the nurse who gave him the pain meds. We're restricting his prescriptions to daily supervised doses. Good, I say. The tension in my shoulders throbs. He threatened to reveal secrets, to rally supporters. I assume you two have the old guard under watch. They exchange glances. Yes, Mikhail says. But Alexander, some of them resent that you want to pivot the Solikov organization away from the old ways. They might see Ivan as a martyr now. A flicker of worry gnaws at me, but I clamp it down. I can handle them. Let me know if you hear any murmurs of rebellion or planned rescue. They both incline their heads. Of course. I stride back through the corridor, passing more guards. They avoid my gaze, or they watch me with guarded expressions. I can't tell if they're loyal or biding their time, just as Ivan claimed. He might be right. Some of them are waiting to see me slip. Yuri catches up to me near the exit. Boss, he says quietly, we secured the entire wing. No unauthorized personnel can get close. You want me to stay here overnight? I consider it. Yes, do that. Keep an eye on the guard rotations. If there's any sign of suspicion, clamp down. I don't care if you have to question them or swap them out entirely. We can't risk any infiltration from those who'd free him. Yuri nods firmly. Understood. He hesitates, then lowers his voice further. Are you okay? This must be a shock. I manage a tight nod. I'm fine, Yuri. just pissed. If he's faking half of this, it's more manipulation. If he's genuine, then we have a bigger mess. Either way, I'm not letting him disrupt everything we've built. Yuri's eyes hold respect. Got it. Let me walk you out. We step outside into the cold night. The car awaits. I slip into the back seat alone, exhaustion pounding at my skull now. The adrenaline from dealing with Ivan drains away, leaving me with a dull ache behind my eyes. As the driver steers toward my townhouse, I try to gather my thoughts. Ivan's words echo in my mind. You think you're powerful just because you sit on my seat? I hate how they strike a chord, because a part of me still wonders if I truly have what it takes to lead this empire without turning into a monster. I recall the expression on Lori's face tonight, full of trust, love. She sees me as a man forging a better path, not strangled by these old mafia codes. But can I maintain that ideal while men like Ivan lurk in the shadows, eager to rip me down? I rub my temples, one step at a time. I remind myself, I'll keep Ivan contained, keep the old guard from revolting. Meanwhile, I'll push forward with the more legitimate expansions. I won't become the butcher he once was. If that's considered weakness, so be it. I'll prove them wrong. The car stops at my townhouse. I exit, letting the driver go for the night. The building's exterior lamps cast a warm glow on the steps. Normally, I'd find solace in that golden light, but tonight it feels hollow. I climb up, unlocking the door. Inside, the hush is absolute. My footsteps echo across the marble floor of the foyer. I flick on a single lamp, half expecting the place to feel more welcoming after my night with Lori. But the air seems stale, tension from the confrontation with Ivan clinging to me like a sour cloak. I discard my suit jacket, toss it over a chair. My phone buzzes, a text from Mikhail. Everything stable. He's sedated. We'll update if anything changes. I type back a curt thank you, then toss the phone onto the table. My mind flickers to the brandy in the study, but I resist. My adrenaline is still high, and alcohol might only set me further on edge. Instead, I sink onto the sofa, leaning my head back, trying to calm my racing thoughts. This war with Ivan, did it truly start last season, or has it been brewing for years? He ran the organization with an iron fist, forging alliances through fear. I stepped in, promising a new approach. Some of his old loyalists saw me as a breath of fresh air. Others see me as an untested usurper. Now I discover that the man himself is under sedation in a private room, spouting doomsday predictions. He says he has nothing to lose, that if he wanted, he could blow me up with secrets. Are these secrets that tie to major political figures? Or hidden caches of blackmail? Possibly. The Solokovs have centuries of cunning behind them. I press the heels of my palms into my eyes, exhaling shakily. Stay calm. You can handle this. If worst comes to worst, do I let the old ways handle him, end him quietly? The thought chills me. I told Lori I want a better future, not one drenched in blood. Yet if Ivan truly threatens everything, no, I have to find another way. Restless, I grab my phone, scanning contacts. My finger hovers over a number. Konstantin, an older associate, who once served under Ivan, but pledged loyalty to me. He might have insight into just how serious the old guard is about freeing Ivan. Or if they're even serious about it. I dial, half expecting him not to pick up at this hour. But after a few rings, a gruff voice answers. Konstantin speaking. It's Alexander, I say. We have an incident with Ivan. A pause. I heard rumors. Something about a suicide attempt. Yes. He's stable, but under heavy guard. I want to know if the old supporters are stirring. Any chatter about busting him out? Constantine sighs. I've heard murmurs of dissatisfaction. They say you're too soft. Some blame you for not handling Ivan more permanently. But I haven't heard of an organized plan yet. I chew my lip. Keep your ear to the ground. If you catch wind of anything, let me know. I refuse to let him cause a coup from his hospital bed. Understood, Constantine says. There's a rustling, as though he's sitting up. Alexander, be careful. If he tried to kill himself, maybe it means he's truly lost, or maybe it's a ploy. Either way, some men might see him as a martyr. They hate that you're forging alliances with outside businesses, going legit. They cling to the old methods. Ivan represents that. I pinch the bridge of my nose. I see. Thanks for the warning. Let me know if anything changes. We exchange good nights, and I end the call. Staring at my phone, I rub my chest where anxiety coils tight. Is it all worth it? I recall Lori's face, the peace in her eyes earlier. Yes, I have to make it worth it. I made a promise to myself to keep her safe, to shape a new future. I can't let Ivan's words shake me from that path. I stand, pacing the living room. Outside, a siren wails faintly, probably an ambulance heading down the main avenue. The irony isn't lost on me. I just came from a hush-hush private hospital, hiding a near-fatal patient from the rest of the world's eyes. Another day in this twisted reality. The memory of Ivan's parting statement gnaws at me. This isn't the end of everything. He tried to kill himself, or pretended to, and yet he brims with vitriol. He's cornered, and a cornered beast is the most dangerous. If he can muster any outside help, it might spark civil unrest among the Solikovs. I have to be ready. Yet, I also recall the softness of Lori's body, the moment we shared in that lounge. I close my eyes, letting that memory warm me for a second. I am not alone. I remind myself. I have reasons to fight, to hold on to a new kind of leadership. I refuse to become like Ivan, living only for fear and control. By the time I glance at the clock, it's nearing 4 a.m. The horizon outside the window holds the faintest promise of dawn. I decide there's no point trying to sleep properly. My mind whirls too frantically. I brew a pot of coffee in the sleek kitchen, the hum of the machine oddly comforting in the hush of the night. Sipping the strong brew, I reflect on how drastically my life changed in a short span. A seat of power, old enemies subdued, forging a new path, and now, a battered old lion refusing to die. This world I inherited is complicated, brutal, but I'm determined not to let it consume me. I'll show them a better way, I vow silently. If that means diffusing Ivan's legacy, so be it. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. He's your problem now. No signature, but I suspect it's from someone in the old circle, mocking me. A chill runs down my spine. Another reminder that not everyone is behind me. I set the mug down with a clink, leaning on the kitchen island, gazing into space. My eyes burn from lack of rest. The night's events swirl in my head. The exquisite high of being with Lori. The abrupt plunge into the underworld's mess. This is my life now. Juggling two extremes. Ivan tried to kill himself, or so they say. He claims secrets that could topple me, The old members are refusing to let the cops handle him, forcing me to keep him under wraps. Meanwhile, everything I'm building could unravel if he stirs the pot just right. Yet, I recall the promise I made to Lori in that lounge, to keep her smiling, no matter the cost. She has no idea the depths of all this, but I want to ensure she never has to find out. That means I have to tread carefully, forging alliances, outmaneuvering the old guard, containing Ivan, and maybe I can find a way to strip him of his leverage once and for all, because letting him rot in sedation might not be enough if he truly has people on the outside. A sigh escapes me. I glance at the faint, lightening sky. Soon, the city will awaken. My men will expect direction. I'll have to put on the mask of confidence again, reassure them that we're stable, that we have a plan for Ivan, that our expansion into legitimate avenues is unstoppable. Inside, though, I harbor the swirl of doubts, the weight of the threats. I remind myself, if I can't handle Ivan, how can I handle bigger obstacles? But I will handle him, no matter how. Finishing my coffee, I decide to attempt an hour of rest before dawn truly breaks. As I climb the stairs to my bedroom, I vow that tomorrow I'll reach out to more of the organization's middle ranks, secure their loyalty. I'll keep a close watch on the med team. I won't let Ivan slip from my grasp, because if he does, it could trigger a war that tears everything apart. At the bedroom door, I pause, scanning the empty space. A pang of longing for Lori surfaces. Her presence would chase away the gloom. But I asked her to rest at her own place. Probably best she's spared from this tension. I step inside, shutting the door behind me. My reflection in the mirror catches my eye. I look strung out, half a man who spent the night balancing between a moment of stolen passion and a meltdown of my empire. Get it together, I tell myself. Lying down, I close my eyes, willing my heartbeat to slow. The hush envelops me, and in the back of my mind I hear Ivan's voice. You think you're powerful? I clench my jaw. Maybe I'm not as powerful as he was in his heyday, but I have something he never did. A vision for a cleaner future, and people who care about me beyond fear. With that final flicker of resolve, I let sleep edge in, though it's a shallow rest. Outside, dawn creeps closer, ready to bring a new day of challenges. But no matter what, I'll face them. If I can handle Ivan, I can handle anything.
You know that feeling when a book pulls you in, wraps around you, and refuses to let go? When the tension is so thick, you swear you can feel it?
Welcome to 30 sinfully addictive romance audiobooks that will ruin your sleep.
Wow, I wasn't ready for this. One chapter in, and I'm already hooked.
Oh, you thought this was just another audiobook collection. No, sweetheart. This is the Dirty 30. Forbidden love, dangerous desires, billionaires with secrets, bad boys who bite back. And every last word is dripped in temptation.
I thought I could just listen to one chapter before bed. Now it's 2 a.m. and I need answers. Need.
So what are you waiting for? Click the link. Start listening. Let the Dirty 30 ruin you in the best way possible.
Escape your life with Miss Nyla.
Chapter 3, 114. Jacob. I'm alone in the living room, the morning light slanting through half-drawn curtains, when the door buzzer cuts through my thoughts like a jolt of static. The day barely started, yet a pit of dread hollows my stomach. I rise from the couch, pushing aside the scattered files on the coffee table, remnants of Stone Hospital business I've half-heartedly tried to keep track of since stepping down as caretaker CEO. I rub my eyes, exhausted from another night of restless half-sleep. At the door, I find a courier. He's wearing a tired expression as if he's delivered bad news 1,000 times. In his hand is a crisp manila envelope. The instant I see it, my heart starts pounding. My name is printed on the outside, right below a legal firm's letterhead. "Jacob Stone?" the courier asks, glancing at a sheet on his clipboard. I manage a nod. He thrusts the envelope at me, his voice flat. "You've been served." Then he spins on his heels and heads back down the hall, leaving me frozen, dread pulsing in my chest. I close the door quietly and stare at the envelope as if it might ignite in my hands. The phrase, "you've been served," echoes in my head. The only reason I'd get served is for a court summons, some official demand to appear. My stomach churns. A bead of sweat runs down my temple. I already sense what it might be about. Finally, I tear the envelope open, the ripping sound echoing in my quiet living room. At first glance, the header is exactly what I fear. A subpoena for Nyla's trial, ordering me to testify. My throat tightens. They want me, Jacob Stone, to take the stand in a murder case involving the woman I love more than anything in this world. I slump onto the couch, the legal documents rustling in my hands. The lines of black text blur for a moment. My mother and father's fatal car accident left me reeling. Now the prosecution claims it was sabotage and pins the blame on Nyla, my fiancée. Each day I've told myself she's innocent. She's locked up in prison, desperate to clear her name. Yet so much so-called evidence lines up to cast her as the mastermind behind my parents' deaths. And now the district attorney wants me to speak against her. The weight of it all crushes my chest. If I go up there and tell the unvarnished truth, the minor suspicions, the time she left my bed, the tension she had with my mother, it might strengthen the prosecution's argument that she orchestrated everything to seize power. But if I lie to protect her, that's perjury. I could face charges myself, and any slip in my story might backfire, painting her guilt as even more blatant. I rake a trembling hand through my hair. My phone rests on the coffee table, notifications blinking. I'm not sure who to call first. My sister Julia is up to her ears running Stone Hospital in my absence. My best friend Derek is loyal, but he's been tangling with the hospital's legal meltdown. He'd likely just say, "Don't lie under oath." Yet the prospect of telling the whole truth gnaws at my soul. Nyla's in prison. One misstep from me could lock her away forever. A flicker of insight stirs. Alexander. Lately, he's been dealing with his own leadership troubles. He took over his family business, the Solikov operation, from the former leader, Ivan. I know he's facing pushback from old loyalists, tension thick enough to lead to violence, but he's still the calmest person I know in a crisis. And I need that calm right now, because I'm unraveling. I pick up the phone. My hand is shaking so badly that I fumble before scrolling to his name, Alexander. For a moment, I hesitate. Should I burden him with this? I press the call button, swallowing hard as it rings. He picks up almost immediately. "Jacob?" he asks, voice edged with concern. "Everything okay? You sound off." I suck in a breath, forcing my voice to steady. "Not really. Sorry to spring this on you first thing in the morning, but I've been served a subpoena for Nyla's trial. I need your help." A heavy silence. Then Alexander exhales. "I was worried this might happen. All right, talk to me. Where do you want to meet?" Part of me wants to invite him here, but paparazzi have been lurking around the building at odd hours ever since the scandal broke. "Let's go to that cafe on Birch Street. Hardly anyone goes there on weekdays in an hour." "Done," he says. No questions asked. That's how he's always been, never pushing for details before we meet. I'll be there. The call ends. I stare at my phone, relief and dread battling in my chest. I force myself to get ready, dressing in a plain sweater and jeans rather than a suit. I can't handle the formalities right now. My reflection in the mirror shows bloodshot eyes and a tension line across my forehead. I run water through my hair, ignoring the swirl of fear in my gut. Calm. I have to be calm. The city bustles as I step outside, an anxious throng of morning commuters weaving around me. I keep my head low, half worried some reporter might jump out with a camera. The short walk to the cafe is a blur of horns and footsteps, my mind replaying the lines from the subpoena. "You are hereby commanded to appear." The cafe on Birch is exactly as I remember. Cozy, soft jazz playing overhead, the faint scent of freshly ground beans. Only 2 patrons occupy a booth in the back, murmuring quietly. Alexander is at a corner table, a mug of coffee already steaming in front of him. He spots me at once and stands, beckoning me over. He's wearing a tailored jacket, hair combed neatly, but I sense the tension in his stance. We share a brief, tight handshake. His gaze flicks to my face, he can see the strain. He doesn't waste time on pleasantries. "Jacob," he says, voice low with concern. "You didn't sleep, did you?" I let out a short, humorless laugh. Sleep feels impossible these days. Everything's turned upside down. Thanks for meeting me so fast. Anytime. We've been through worse, right? He tries a reassuring grin, though it looks forced. "So tell me about the subpoena." I slump into the chair across from him and extract the wrinkled document from my jacket pocket. They want me to testify next week, presumably about the night my parents died, my father and mother's fatal crash that the prosecution calls sabotage. I slide it across the table. If I confirm certain suspicious details about Nyla's behavior that night, I might bolster their case. But if I lie, it's perjury. Alexander picks up the paper, scans it with a furrowed brow. Damn, that's a corner. Lying under oath is never wise, but telling them the entire story might push the jury to believe Nyla's guilty. He sets it down carefully, folds his hands. I can't see you letting her go down for something she didn't do. Exactly. I press both palms flat on the table to steady myself. But I can't walk in there telling fantasies. The prosecution will pick me apart. And I keep replaying that night, how she left me on my bed. If I say that out loud, the jury might think she snuck off to tamper with the car. It kills me inside. My chest constricts. Despite the so-called evidence, the forged toll booth footage, the suspicious bank accounts, none of it lines up with who she is, but no one's proven the forgeries definitively, and time's running short. Alexander rubs his jaw, the worry lines on his face deepening. I'm sorry, man. You've endured so much since your parents passed. He exhales. You can't commit perjury. You'd undermine your own credibility, and possibly sabotage her defense if you got caught. That said, you can shape the truth. Emphasize that you never suspected her of harm. The defense can highlight the bigger context, that she was stressed, that there's potential tampering. I let out a breath, a flicker of relief stirring. That's what her lawyer told me too. But I keep having nightmares about facing the prosecutor's cross-examination. They'll try to spin my words. I'm terrified that one slip could bury her. He nods gravely. I understand. But you have no choice. The law demands you appear. The best approach is to remain calm, factual, and unwavering in your belief in her innocence. Don't give the prosecution any speculation they can twist. I swallow, the coffee in front of me untouched. I appreciate the advice. You're dealing with your own meltdown in the family business. It means a lot that you're here. He attempts a smile. We're friends in misery, Jacob. My issues with the old loyalists resisting my reforms are intense, but I'll handle them. Right now, you need a strategy for the stand. If you want, I can help arrange some security for you. Not just physically. These are emotional times. Sometimes having a discreet team helps you move around, away from the press. Part of me wants to protest that I'm not in immediate danger. But the mention of security triggers a memory of a threatening phone call I got recently, telling me to comply with the prosecution or else. I might need that, I admit quietly. I've had some ominous calls. People telling me I better not help Nyla on the stand. If it escalates, I'll let you know. His eyes darken. You're getting threats now? That's witness intimidation. You have to inform Nyla's lawyer, maybe the cops. I will, I say. I'm just dreading the media storm. The second they find out about intimidation calls, they'll plaster it everywhere. But if it helps show that someone's orchestrating a false narrative, maybe it's worth it. My mind flicks to those silent nights, phone buzzing with unknown numbers. The memory sends a chill through me. Alexander leans back, drumming his fingers on the table. On another note, how's Stone Hospital holding up? The protesters are still out there? I let out a humorless sigh. Yeah, smaller crowd, but still persistent. Julia's trying to maintain normal operations while the board scrambles to distance themselves from the scandal. Meanwhile, donors are skittish. Everything's a mess. But that's less urgent to me than Nyla's freedom. The hospital's meltdown can wait. He offers a thoughtful nod, gaze drifting for a moment. If it helps your staff morale or your finances, I can have my reorganized linen supply company extend favorable deals to Stone Hospital. That might reinforce your sister's position, funnel some legitimate income my way, and keep the place stable. Win-win. I blink in gratitude, a faint lift of relief. You do that? He shrugs as though it's obvious. We're in this together. The old loyalists on my end might grumble about forging a legitimate alliance, but they can deal with it. If I can show them consistent profit, it shores up my leadership. Despite everything, I manage a small smile. Thank you. I'll talk to Julia. He returns the smile, relief flickering in his eyes, but it fades quickly. Still, money alone won't fix the heartbreak of testifying. You'll be forced to stand in front of a courtroom across from her and speak about the darkest night of your life. I can't imagine how that weighs on you. My chest clenches. It's horrifying. The idea of looking at her across the courtroom, seeing her terrified, then telling the jury about the suspicious gaps in her timeline. God, it's an impossible choice. My parents deserve justice if someone murdered them. But I can't believe it was Nyla. If my testimony tilts the scale the wrong way, I'll never forgive myself. Alexander sets his coffee aside, focusing on me fully. Jacob, remember, the truth as you see it is that she's innocent. The fact you were in bed with her that night and she left doesn't automatically prove guilt. Stress that you never saw her do anything questionable. Express your unwavering faith in her character. The defense can handle the rest. The prosecution can spin it all they want, but if the jury sees your sincerity, it may cast doubt on the official story. Tension eases slightly in my shoulders. Yeah, that's what I cling to. Sincerity. I can't conjure evidence to exonerate her, but I can at least show the jury I never believed she'd do something so vile. We fall silent, each absorbing the enormity of the situation. The cafe's background hum drifts in, a soft jazz tune, the barista's quiet conversation with another customer. It's almost soothing, in stark contrast to the storm in my heart. Alexander's phone buzzes on the table. He checks it, brow furrowing. Probably a message from one of his men about the old loyalists. He sighs and puts the phone face down, returning his attention to me. I might have to leave soon, but I'm not rushing you. Are you feeling any clearer about your next steps? I consider it. Yes, a bit. I'll talk to Margaret Ross, Nyla's attorney, get her to do a thorough witness prep with me, and I'll see about reporting the intimidation calls to the police. Maybe they can trace them. He nods in approval. That's wise. The more you can show the trial is compromised by outside interference, the easier it is for the defense to argue the entire case is suspect. That might buy time to prove the toll booth footage or wreath receipt was forged. A slow breath leaves me, the knot in my chest loosening. I just hope it's enough. Nyla doesn't deserve this hell. He reaches across the table, gripping my wrist briefly. We'll get her out. Keep me updated on everything. Meanwhile, I'll do what I can to finalize that linen supply deal with Stone Hospital. Help your finances. If we can at least keep your sister afloat, that's one less stress. I'll check on Lori. I'm not sure how she's holding up with all the protesters outside. I muster a small smile of gratitude. Thank you. He leans back, crossing his arms. Do me a favor and keep yourself safe. The mention of intimidation calls worries me. If you need extra security, say the word. I can spare a few men. I'd rather see you guarded than reading about your disappearance. A faint laugh escapes me, though sadness lingers. I'll think about it. This is all so surreal. Stone Hospital meltdown, Nyla imprisoned, me testifying. Feels like a nightmare. He stands, draining the last of his coffee. You're not alone in it, though. Keep that in mind. I rise as well, and we share a firm handshake. The old couple in the corner barely notice, absorbed in their conversation. The barista offers a polite nod as we head out. Bright morning light hits us on the sidewalk. People rush by with briefcases and backpacks. I squint at the bustle, heart heavier than ever. Alexander checks his watch. I've got to meet someone about expansions for my company, but call me if anything new happens, all right? Definitely, I say. And thanks again. He nods, a flicker of worry crossing his face. We part ways as he disappears into the crowd. I hope Alexander's right. The rest of the day unfolds in a haze of phone calls and hurried steps. I meet with Margaret Ross, who briskly flips through the subpoena and nods. So they want you on day 3, she says, scanning the legal jargon. We have limited time to prep, but we'll make it count. I sink into the chair in her office, fingers drumming on my knees. Please, just tell me we can shape my testimony so it won't bury her. Ross purses her lips. We'll do our best. The key is avoiding speculation. Speak only to facts. Emphasize your unwavering belief she's incapable of murder. We'll thread the rest into a narrative that suggests tampering and external pressure. I swallow. Thank you. I also got a call. Someone telling me to condemn Nyla or else. I want to report it to the cops. Is that wise? A spark of alarm flits in her eyes. It's not just wise, it's necessary. That's witness intimidation. We can use that to highlight attempts to manipulate the trial. The judge can't ignore that. I nod, relief mingling with fear. All right, I'll do it. Just, this is so big. And if they convict her? Ross's gaze softens. I understand, but we fight it with every tool we have. Your testimony is a tool, used carefully. The rest? We're still digging for proof of forged evidence. Don't lose hope. Hope. The word feels fragile. But I cling to it, leaving her office with a stack of notes on likely prosecution questions and how I might respond. Focus on your direct observations. Mention nothing that gives them a wedge to claim you suspect her. Over and over, I remind myself, I can't lie, but I can show the jury how much I love her and trust her innocence. Night settles by the time I return home. The city lights shine outside my window, flickering neon across the living room floor. I toss my jacket on a chair, mind whirling with legal scenarios. My phone pings with a text, just Derek wanting updates. I send him a brief message saying I'm coordinating with Ross. Then I look around the silent apartment. Once, Nyla and I had so many plans for this place. Now it's empty, a shell of what could have been. Images flash in my head. Me on the witness stand, the prosecutor drilling me about the night my parents died, how Nyla left. I see the jury leaning forward, suspecting. I see Nyla at the defense table, tears in her eyes. The mental picture hits like a punch. I can't fail her. I won't. I stand abruptly, crossing to the window. The city's chaos looks so small from up here, just lights in the darkness. I recall my father's face, my mother's last words. If they truly died from sabotage, the killer deserves punishment. But it's not her. She wouldn't do it, no matter how tense things got with Hilda Stone. Soon, I'll walk into that courtroom, heart in my throat, the entire city watching. I'll speak the truth that I know, that she's a healer at heart, that she'd never orchestrate violence. No matter how much they question me, I'll hold firm, because if I break, I might as well sign her death warrant. I owe it to my parents, to myself, to find the real culprit. But most of all, I owe it to Nyla to protect her with every ounce of resolve I have left.
This is it, baby. This is what you can get me that'll make me happy.
You know I'll get you whatever you want. All you need to do is ask me and I'll give it to you.
This ain't just it. This is everything I could ever want.
Now I'm curious. What does a strong, sassy woman like yourself want so badly?
Baby, you know what I want?
Can't wait to hear.
The Big Baddie Bundle from Tyler Walker. It has everything I need.
20 ebooks with over 1 million words of sassy romance and spice that'll keep you on your toes.
10 audiobooks containing over 60 hours of that seductive voice telling me naughty things all night long.
You don't need an audiobook for that, baby. Right here.
You may be fine and all, but no one tells it like the way Miss Tyler does. And I need her in my life.
The Big Baddie Bundle is everything you need. You can get it for 80% off.
Go to TylerWalker.com to browse the bundles that earn you the best deals.
It's time you treat yourself. Because you deserve it.
Escape your life with Miss Tyler.
Chapter 3, 115, Lori. I'm standing at the nurse's station, scanning a chart for my next patient, when the buzz of conversation behind me prickles my ears. Even though I'm not directly involved, I catch scattered words, privileged, no clue, just another stone. I don't need to guess who they're talking about. Since Julia took over as CEO, the staff has been on edge about her leadership. Still, hearing my coworkers' disparaging tones churns my stomach. I shift, trying not to look too obvious as I tilt my head. 3 nurses, Zara, Tasha, and Marianne, are huddled near the supply cabinets, voices low. Zara glances my way, sees me listening, and immediately hushes the others. The quiet hits like a slap in the face. They know I'm close with Nyla, who's engaged to Jacob Stone. Or was it engaged, given the fiasco with the trial? Either way, I'm associated with the Stone name. That apparently puts me in an awkward spot whenever folks want to complain about Stone management. Even though the new CEO, Julia Stone, is Jacob's sister, most of the staff lumps them all into the same big Stone family bucket. Distrusted outsiders who care about money, not medicine. I let out a breath, scribbling a note on the chart to look busy. My heart rate picks up as I replay rumors swirling around. The hospital's meltdown is front page news, Nyla's in jail awaiting trial, and Jacob stepped down as caretaker CEO. Julia Stone stepped in. The staff sees her as an heiress, a Stone sibling who's out of touch with the daily grind of healthcare. Sometimes I can't blame them. There's been a series of abrupt changes, from budgets to break room policies, and morale took a hit. I glance at Zara. She's a talented nurse who's always spoken her mind. She gives me a tight smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I flash a brief smile back, then slip the chart into the station's rack. The tension is palpable. Hear the latest? Tasha says, trying to whisper, but I still catch it. Julia wants to streamline supply ordering. She's probably never changed an IV bag in her life. Marianne scoffs, but at least she's quieter about it. I sense they're venting. I close my eyes, counting to 3. It's none of my business, right? Except now they're all looking my way. The chatter halts when I approach the station again. My cheeks heat up. So much for peace and quiet. I gather my courage. Hi guys, everything okay? My voice cracks a bit, betraying my nerves. Zara shares a sideways glance with Tasha. We're fine, Lori, she says, trying to be casual. Just hospital talk. I try to smile. Sure. The silence that follows is thick. Look, I don't mean to butt in, but if there's something about administration that's bugging you, maybe we can talk to them? Zara's lips tighten. Administration doesn't listen, and Miss Julia Stone... She flicks her eyes around, dropping her voice. She's just another privileged heiress who doesn't know squat about real patient care. Marianne mumbles agreement, shifting a stack of forms. Tasha's gaze falls to the floor. I swallow, wanting to defend Julia but not entirely sure how. I don't really know her that well. Jacob's talked about her as a serious, if somewhat anxious sibling, but rumor has it she's been out of the loop for years, only returning to help salvage the hospital. Is that enough to prove herself? Zara eyes me. You're close with the Stones, aren't you, since you're Nyla's best friend? She says it without warmth, like I might be a spy. I cringe inside. I mean, I'm friends with Jacob and Nyla, yes, but that doesn't mean I have direct lines to Julia, I say quietly. I've barely met her, honestly. Tasha shifts uncomfortably. We're not trying to trash your friends, Lori, but this new CEO is making changes left and right, all from that fancy office on the top floor. Meanwhile, we're short-staffed, break rooms are a mess, and the interns barely have supplies. She's messing with things she doesn't understand. I open my mouth to respond, but Zara cuts me off with a scornful half laugh. She's got no clue what it's like on the floor. Another Stone sibling calling shots from a cushy office. That's all it is. Just then, I notice the receptionist at the station beckoning me over to answer a call. I force a small nod, turning away, relieved and frustrated. I'm stuck in the middle. On one hand, I empathize with the staff. The hospital is chaotic. On the other, I can't personally blame Julia for everything. She inherited a massive crisis after Jacob stepped down. Shouldn't we give her time? The call from the front desk is a patient issue, so I hurry off. But as I walk away, I hear Zara's snide comment float behind me. Don't want to be the rich bitch's bitch. The words sting more than I care to admit. Usually Zara and I get along fine. Now I'm reminded that the staff sees me as some extension of Stone family politics, even if it's purely guilt by association. I handle my patient tasks for the next couple of hours, trying to keep my head down. The break room is noisy with morning shift chatter, so I skip lunch, too anxious to face the possibility of more talk about Julia. By early afternoon, I'm stuck in line at the pharmacy window, waiting for a medication pickup for a post-op patient. My phone buzzes. A text from Tasha. Hey, sorry if we made you uncomfortable earlier. The break rooms suck, that's all. I type back, it's okay, I understand, let's figure something out. Because to be honest, the break rooms are in bad shape. Torn chairs, half-broken fridge, not enough microwaves for busy shifts. It's been a problem for months, overshadowed by bigger crises, but it hurts staff morale. Maybe it's time someone speaks up to management, even if it's me. Leaving the pharmacy, I almost bump into Lucy, a new grad nurse who's juggling an armful of charts. She beams at me. Lori, hi. Did you hear about the new scheduling policy from Ms. Stone? People are freaking out. I sigh. I heard rumors they say she wants to shift everything to a fancy digital system, but no one's had training. Lucy nods frantically, color draining from her cheeks. Yes, exactly. I'm worried it'll cause more confusion. The older nurses hate digital scheduling. I place a reassuring hand on her arm. I get it. I'll see if I can ask about that. Lucy smiles gratefully before hurrying off, charts in hand. Another problem piling up. It's near the end of my shift when I catch a moment to breathe at the nurse's station. That's when Julia Stone herself approaches, an iPad in hand. She's dressed in a crisp blazer, hair pulled into a tight bun, looking every inch the new CEO. Despite her composed exterior, her eyes show a flicker of nerves. People's heads turn as she strides up to me. "Lori," she says, offering a tentative smile, "do you have a moment?" My stomach clenches. She rarely comes down to the floor, and I've had minimal direct interaction with her. "Sure," I manage, pushing aside a stack of charts. "What can I do for you?" She glances around. A few nurses pretend to be busy, clearly eavesdropping. Julia lowers her voice. "I've heard staff are unhappy with the break room conditions. I wanted to check that with you. Is that correct?" My mind flicks to Zara's rant earlier. Yes, we've had issues with old appliances and not enough space. People are frustrated, especially with everything else going on. Her shoulders slump slightly, as though she's relieved I confirmed it. "Thank you for being honest. I'd like to fix that. Improve conditions for the nursing staff overall. But the break rooms are a start." She hesitates, gaze darting to the watchers nearby. "Would you be willing to help me gather detailed feedback? Maybe compile a short list of priorities from the floor staff?" I'm momentarily taken aback by her direct approach. Sure, but shouldn't you have HR handle that?" Julia frowns. "They're swamped with the fallout from the scandal, donors backing out, scheduling fiascos. I want to address the frontline staff's concerns personally. Let them know I'm not clueless about their struggles, no matter what they think." She glances around again, voice dropping. "This hospital is in crisis. I can't afford to ignore morale, and I'd prefer to hear it from someone I can trust, not to sugarcoat it." Heat rushes to my cheeks. Me, a trustworthy liaison? We hardly know each other, aside from the fact that I'm Nyla's best friend and was close to Jacob. But maybe that's exactly why she wants me. I'm not some random staffer, nor am I a stone loyalist. I'm in between. Well, I can't promise everyone will open up, but I'll try. Her face softens with something like genuine gratitude. "Thank you, Lori, really. If you compile a list, email me or drop by my office, whichever is easier. I plan to start quick fixes soon, at least new microwaves and seating. Maybe I can't solve everything overnight, but one step at a time." A flicker of respect stirs in me. Maybe she's not just some privileged heiress playing CEO. Sure, that sounds good. She exhales, relief etched in her posture. "Great. Also, I'd like you to be an informal liaison if you're up for it. No pressure, but the staff trusts you, right? You can float back and forth, bridging any communication gaps." I blink. "This is bigger than just break rooms. You mean like a staff rep?" She nods. "Sort of, not an official position, but someone who can come to me directly when morale issues crop up. I know it's unusual, but with everything that's happened, the meltdown after Jacob stepped down, the trial overshadowing everything, I want to keep lines open, even if certain folks think I'm just another stone." Hearing the vulnerability in her voice, I recall how the nurses talked about her earlier, that she's clueless, privileged, a rich bitch. But seeing her up close, she seems earnest, maybe even anxious. Something tugs at my heart. "All right," I say softly. "I'll do my best." "Thank you," she repeats, voice trembling slightly with relief. Then, noticing the watchers, she squares her shoulders and nods, stepping away. She offers a polite greeting to a passing doctor and leaves, iPad clutched to her chest. I look around and sure enough, half the station stares. As soon as Julia's footsteps fade, I catch the burn of their gazes. Great. Now I look like I'm colluding with management. But I told her I'd help, and I do believe the break rooms and everything else could use improvement. Maybe this is how to make a difference, especially since Nyla can't do it from behind bars. Zara returns to the station, exchanging a loaded look with Tasha. The tension is palpable, so I clear my throat. "Hey guys, Julia just asked me to pass on any concerns about the break rooms. She said she'll fix them if we give specifics. I thought you'd want to know." Zara crosses her arms. "Oh, so she's suddenly the caring type?" I swallow, hating the hostility in her tone but understanding it. Look, if she wants to help, why not let her? This place is falling apart. We're overworked and we keep complaining that nobody listens. She's trying to do something. Tasha hesitates, then shrugs, as long as it's not just lip service. I manage a tiny smile. She seems sincere. I figure we can at least hand her a list, see if she follows through. Zara snorts but doesn't argue further. Fine, gather your list. I'll throw in the crappy microwave that sets off the smoke detector. Also, we need a bigger fridge. I nod, taking mental notes. A sense of cautious optimism stirs in me. Consider it noted. Marianne at the computer glances over. And new chairs, she mutters. My back's killing me from those lumps. I pull out a notepad, scribbling bullet points. Got it. Zara eyes me with reluctant acceptance. Okay, maybe she's not so bad if she actually follows through, but I'm not holding my breath. I keep my smile neutral, but inside I'm relieved. One small step in bridging the staff's distrust of Julia. And if she does deliver on the improvements, maybe they'll see her as more than just a stone heiress. Meanwhile, part of me wonders if she can handle the bigger issues, like scheduling chaos or budget shortfalls. But one victory at a time. My shift ends on an odd note of hope. I gather my things from the nurse locker area, shoulders stiff from stress. Usually at the end of a day like this, I'd call Nyla or meet her for coffee to vent. The thought of her locked up, accused of murder, tightens my throat. My best friend's entire world is on hold. It's not fair. But that's another fight, one I can't fix just by emailing a list of staff concerns. Zara passes by, hooking her bag over her shoulder. She pauses at my locker, awkwardness in her stance. Lori? Sorry if I was harsh earlier. It's just morale's in the toilet. We feel abandoned, you know. I give her a faint smile. I get it, and I'm not the Stones, but if passing along your concerns helps, I'm willing. She nods, a flicker of gratitude in her eyes. Thanks. Then she's gone, leaving me with a swirl of complicated feelings. The staff isn't my enemy, and neither is Julia, it seems. We're all flailing in the aftermath of the scandal. I step out into the corridor, heading for the exit. Julia stands near the administration office, chatting with the board member. She notices me and gives a small wave. Surprised, I wave back. She's definitely more approachable than Hilda Stone ever was. That alone might be something worth fostering. Outside, the crisp evening air greets me. The sun's nearly set, painting the sky with gold and pink streaks. The protest outside the main entrance has dwindled, only a few stragglers with signs. They barely glance my way. I slip past them, a pang of worry for Jacob crossing my mind. I recall how he's swamped with the subpoena, forced to testify in Nyla's trial. My heart aches for them both. If that testimony goes wrong, Nyla could be locked away for life, or if he tries to shield her with half-truths, that might ruin them both. I walk toward the bus stop, rummaging in my phone for music to distract me. A call from Tasha appears. Surprised, I answer. Hey Tasha, what's up? She speaks in a rush. Heard you're collecting break room improvements. I forgot to say we need a new water cooler. The old one tastes weird. I laugh softly, the tension from earlier replaced by a sense of camaraderie. I'll add it to the list. She sighs. Thanks. I hope Ms. Stone is serious about helping. Her tone carries cautious optimism. Anyway, have a good night, Lori. You too, I say, stepping onto the bus. I cradle the phone in my lap, thinking about how quickly attitudes shift if they sense genuine change. The ride home is long, giving me time to reflect. Julia rarely appeared in the day-to-day chaos. She was overshadowed by her mother Hilda, or by Jacob's caretaker role. We never built a real friendship. She was just the quieter Stone sibling in the background, occasionally showing up at events. But now she's the CEO, unexpectedly forced into the spotlight. Our interactions were superficial before, no deeper bond formed. Maybe that's about to change. Reaching my stop, I head up the short flight of steps to my apartment. Dropping my bag, I flick on the overhead light. The emptiness feels starker than usual, my mind drifting to how I used to call Nyla after a tough shift, or even meet up for a quick dinner. Now I can only imagine her behind bars, overshadowed by accusations. The tension of that trial threads through everything, from the staff's morale to my personal sense of stability. I slump onto my couch, pulling a notepad from my bag. Time to assemble the break room request list. New chairs, new microwaves, bigger fridge, maybe a fresh coat of paint. I jot them down. Then my phone buzzes with a new text from Julia herself. Thank you again, Lori, for agreeing to help me. I appreciate any feedback. I want the staff to see I truly care. I stare at the message. She ended with a simple -JS as though trying to sound casual. For a moment, I sense her nerves. She's stepping into a chaotic role. The hospital meltdown is a public scandal. Donors are fleeing and protesters remain outside, all while Jacob is forced to stand in court about the murder case. Everything's swirling and she's tasked with holding the place together. I text back, I have a small list so far, we'll gather more, let's keep in touch. She responds almost immediately, absolutely. I'll see if we can approve a budget for the break rooms at the next meeting. Good night. A smile tugs at my lips. Maybe she's genuinely trying. If so, the staff might give her a chance, assuming she delivers. Reflecting on the gossip from earlier, I realize how easily we pass judgment on the Stone name. Sure, Hilda Stone was formidable, and the entire fiasco with Jacob stepping down left a sour taste. But Julia might be different. If she can fix even a fraction of the staff's issues, that's progress. My phone pings again. This time it's from Zara. Heard you're helping Miss Stone fix the break rooms. Let's hope it's not all talk. No apology, but at least it's a sign she's engaged. I text back a neutral, let's see what happens. Because that's all we can do. Wait and see if Julia's promises hold water. With a sigh, I drop the phone. My mind spirals to thoughts of Nyla, how she'd be first in line to push for staff improvements if she were here. I imagine telling her that Julia is stepping up. She might be surprised. Nyla had her own complicated dynamic with the Stone family. Possibly she'd be relieved to see at least one Stone caring about the daily grind. Dragging myself off the couch, I fix a quick dinner. The sizzling pan's noise a mild comfort in the hush of my apartment. Despite the day's tension, I feel a spark of optimism for the hospital. If Julia Stone and the staff can find common ground, morale might begin to recover. And if that morale recovers, maybe the entire environment around the Stone name shifts, leading to more positivity that might bleed into Nyla's trial coverage. A long shot, I admit, but hope is needed in small doses. After dinner, I settle in to finalize the break room notes. My phone buzzes again. This time it's not a coworker or Julia, but a short message from Jacob. Just want to say thanks for being there for Nyla, in spirit if not in person. Alexander says you're coping okay. My chest tightens. Alexander must have told him we spoke about the hospital meltdown, or maybe about the staff's complaints. I type back, I'm all right. We all miss her. How are you holding up with the subpoena? He responds after a moment, scared but determined. Wish us luck. Next week's gonna be rough. I swallow the knot in my throat. We're rooting for you. If you need anything, call. My phone stays silent after that. I imagine him alone, grappling with the possibility that his testimony might tip the scales. My heart aches for him, for Nyla, for all of us caught in the Stone Hospital meltdown, but focusing on these small victories, like maybe improving break rooms, helps keep me sane. It's a slice of normalcy in a sea of chaos. I read through my bullet points. More seating, updated fridge, new microwaves, fix the peeling paint, confirm the AC system works. The list is modest, but it's tangible. Something that can be done. I wonder if in a few weeks we'll see brand new lounge chairs and staff feeling less resentful. One can dream. Eventually, I head to bed, the weariness of the day pressing on my eyelids. But I can't shake the sense of new beginnings. Julia Stone might not be the perfect CEO, but she came down to talk to me, a random nurse, about break rooms. That alone is a step up from the old intimidation from Hilda Stone's era, where staff got fired if they crossed her. Maybe we can find a path to trust, or at least mutual respect. As I slip under the covers, my mind drifts to a half-dream of a newly painted break room with bright chairs and a brand new microwave. Nurses smiling, no longer complaining about Stone meddling. Then I see Julia, quietly proud that she made a difference. A small corner of the hospital was restored. Sure, it won't fix the meltdown or solve Nyla's trial nightmares, but it's something. Maybe in these times, something is enough to keep our heads above water. He's the mysterious man I had a fling with last night, and it turns out he's my dad's new boss.
I was getting IVF, but the donor came in and wanted his stuff back. It was too late. Now we're stuck together and I'm having his baby. But he's fine, so let's see where this goes.
Ready to dive into a world where passion meets intrigue, where love knows no bounds.
If I don't find a woman to marry in the next 24 hours, then my entire company is going to be taken from me. There's only one woman I can ask, but she hates me because I ruined her father.
Introducing the Escape Your Life with Romance Book Bundle by Amazon best-selling author Nyla Walker. A collection of 100 standalone romances that promise to sweep you off your feet. And the best part?
90% off on the whole bundle, baby.
For $59.99, you'll get over 500 hours of pure romance with strong alpha males and sassy women who don't back down.
They can pass all the tariffs they want, ladies. But you won't find this deal for 100 books for 59 cents a book anywhere else.
Less than $1 per book for all the dirty fun I can handle?
Visit TylaWalker.com to grab this bundle today.
Get ready to escape your life.
With Miss Nyla. Chapter 3, 116. Nyla. I wake before dawn to the clang of the bars, my bunkmate Joe stirring beneath me. The prison's constant hum of fluorescent lights and distant shouting greets me just like every other bleak morning. Even after weeks here, I still jolt awake, my heart hammering. Each day feels like a slow crawl through some twisted alternate reality, where I, Nyla Thomas, the nurse who once roamed the halls of Stone Hospital helping patients, am locked up on murder charges I still can't wrap my head around. The guard's footsteps echo in the corridor, and the overhead lights flicker. A half-hearted attempt at a sunrise. My muscles ache from the thin mattress, but I shove my blanket aside, forcing myself to sit up. Joe, from the lower bunk, stretches with a groan. "Morning, Princess," she says, trying for a wry smile. She's called me that since day one, an uneasy nickname that once dripped with sarcasm but has softened over time. We're not exactly best friends, but in this place, we rely on each other to survive. "Morning," I mutter, voice scratchy. My mind flickers to the same anxious swirl. Jacob forced to testify. The swirling rumors that I orchestrated the sabotage that killed his parents. My father Marcus's name on everyone's lips. Calm, I tell myself, swallowing the panic. A guard's voice echoes down the corridor. "Count time, ladies. Line up." Joe rolls her eyes. Another day in paradise. We shuffle out of the cell into the corridor, joining the line of inmates for the daily head count. The tension is so thick I taste it. Shifts in alliances, petty feuds, the background hum of hostility. My body tenses. Even if I haven't been here long, I know the mood can turn violent in a flash. After court, The next few hours pass in a slog of monotony. Forced breakfast in a grimy cafeteria, then assigned chores. I'm on laundry duty this week, trudging down labyrinthine halls to the industrial washers, lugging sacks of stained uniforms. Sweat beads on my neck, the stale smell clinging to me. A half-dozen other inmates sort and fold laundry with robotic efficiency. One or two nod in my direction, the rest either glare or ignore me. I keep my head down, thoughts swirling with the same refrain. Jacob's hearing soon, if he testifies. How bad is it? The silence breaks when a tall, wiry inmate named Margot sidles up, her lips curled in a sneer. She's part of a clique that's eyed me from day one. "Hey, stone nurse," she drawls, voice mocking. "Been hearing rumors." My gut clenches. I focus on folding a sheet. "Not interested," I mumble. "Oh, but you should be," Margot says, tossing a wad of clothes into a hamper. "Word is someone wants your stay here to be real unpleasant." Her tone prickles my skin. "Who?" I ask quietly, despite myself. Margot just shrugs, feigning boredom. "Dunno. Maybe one of the big fish outside. Heard they're paying for it. Could be your dear father, your dear sister, your best friend, your dear fiancé, your dear fiancé's sister. Who knows? Doesn't matter to me." She sneers. "Just giving you a heads up." A chill seeps into my bones. Trixa or Marcus, could they be behind threats here? I clamp my jaw, refusing to let fear show. "Thanks for the warning. Now leave me alone." Margot smirks. "Sure, stone nurse? Enjoy laundry?" She ambles off, her words echoing in my head. They want your life to become a living hell. That means the intimidation from outside has extended in here too. My heart thuds. Trixa, Marcus, or someone else who hates me for no reason. I swallow hard, forcing myself to keep folding. The rest of laundry duty is tense, my pulse on high alert. At midday, I'm back on the cell block. Joe and I sit on our bunks, trying to rest our feet after morning chores. She notices my agitation, the way my knee bounces restlessly. "Something's up," Joe says, wiping sweat from her brow. "You're jumpy as hell. Who cornered you this time?" I glance down at the chipped paint on my bunk frame. "Margot," she said, "someone wants my life to be miserable here, possibly paying them off." I blow out a shaky breath. I have no clue if it's just intimidation or real. Joe's face hardens. "Figures. You're high profile. Some people might see a bounty on your head. Or they just want to do a favor for your enemies." She curses under her breath. "Damn it. We'll have to keep an eye out. Don't wander alone, Nyla." My throat tightens. "I'll try, but they can corner me anywhere. Shower, yard, laundry. I can't always have a guard shadowing me." She nods grimly. "We have some allies around, people who don't buy the rumor you're a murderer. Stick with them if possible. The second you sense trouble, holler. A show of unity might keep them from messing with you." A faint stir of gratitude flickers in me. When I first arrived, Joe eyed me with suspicion, calling me princess. Over time, we found a strange camaraderie, shaped by survival. "Thank you," I whisper. Joe shrugs, trying to mask her concern. "Just watch your back." The rest of the afternoon passes in uneasy quiet. Every shadow across the corridor sets me on edge. I keep waiting for Margot, or her clique to jump me. My bunkmate Joe hovers, not obviously, but enough that I feel a bit safer. Another friend, Tisha, an older inmate who's calm and motherly, occasionally nods reassurance from across the block. I sense a pocket of goodwill around me, formed by the people I've helped with minor injuries or medical advice. It's not an army, but it's something. By dinner time, I exhale, thinking maybe the threat was just talk. The cafeteria is the usual chaos, lines for trays, clang of metal cutlery. I join Joe in line, trying to ignore the stares. We grab our trays, watery stew, a hunk of dry bread, something resembling mashed potatoes, and find a table in the corner. The overhead fluorescents hum. My appetite is meager, but I force down a few bites. Joe's halfway through her stew when I catch movement at the corner of my eye. 4 inmates approach, Margot among them, plus 2 bigger women I haven't interacted with, and another with a shaved head. My pulse spikes. Before I can react, one of them, a tall woman with a scar across her jaw, grabs my tray, slamming it aside. The watery stew splashes onto the table. Gasps break out around us. Joe jumps to her feet, fists clenched. Scarjaw sneers down at me. Heard you're the fancy nurse who thinks she's innocent, huh? Someone wants you to suffer. Real bad. Anger churns in my chest. I don't know who you're talking about. Leave me alone. My voice wavers, betraying fear. She leans in, breath rancid. You cost someone a lot of trouble getting close to the stones. Now you're paying the price. Her words confirm the suspicion. Trixa or Marcus? A swirl of rage and dread spikes through me. I glance around, seeing other inmates shift away, not wanting involvement. A couple of guards are at the far end of the cafeteria, absorbed in their own chatter. Joe steps between me and Scarjaw. Back off, she growls. You want to start something, you picked the wrong table. Margot laughs, circling behind me. Ooh, tough bunkmate. But sorry, nurse, you're on someone's hit list. The next instant, Scarjaw shoves Joe aside, then lunges at me. A fist slams into my jaw, stars bursting behind my eyes. I stagger, heart pounding. Another blow strikes my ribs from the side. The cafeteria explodes with noise, some inmates shouting, some egging on the fight, trays clattering. Pain flares. I taste blood on my lip. Fear and adrenaline surge. I attempt to defend myself, but Margot grabs my arms from behind, leaving me open as Scarjaw rains 2 more punches into my side. I gasp, agony radiating through my torso. Stop! Joe yells, trying to wrestle Scarjaw, but one of the bigger women intercepts her, hooking an arm around Joe's neck. Chaos unfurls. Tisha, from across the cafeteria, leaps in to help Joe. Another inmate slams her tray at Margot's back. The guards, alerted by the noise, shout from the far end, but people are already swinging at each other. Shouts and curses fill the air, trays flying. This is turning into a mini riot. I barely stay upright. Margot's grip bruising my arms. Scarjaw rears back for another hit. My chest tightens. If she lands that punch, I might lose consciousness. My mind scrambles. Move, Nyla. Fight. Do something. I twist violently, slamming my elbow into Margot's gut. She grunts, loosening her hold. Enough for me to duck. Scarjaw's punch whiffing over my head. I scramble backward, breath ragged. Half blinded by tears and pain, I see Joe wrestling the big woman. Tisha locked in a brawl with the shaved head one. People are screaming, tables overturned. Guards push through the fray, blowing whistles, brandishing batons. My heart pounds. Find an exit, find safety. But I can't see a clear path out. Then Scarjaw lunges again, hooking a punch at my face. I flinch, lifting my arms, but she's strong. She lands a blow to my jaw that sends me crashing onto a scattered tray. Pain explodes. I taste blood again, mind reeling. Margot's face looms, her expression triumphant. Everything slows. I register shouts of, "Down! Everyone down!" from the guards. But no immediate help reaches me. Suddenly a figure slams into Margot, toppling her sideways. It's one of the inmates I gave first aid advice to last week, a quiet woman named Bree. She pins Margot briefly. Joe, freed from her own scuffle, manages a fierce jab at Scarjaw's side. Then the guards swarm, fists and batons flailing, ordering everyone to the ground. The entire cafeteria devolves into chaos, furniture overturned, moans of pain echoing. I can't keep track. All I know is my ribs scream with agony, my face throbs, and my ears ring from the hits. My vision wavers. Staggering to my knees, I see a guard forcing Margot's face to the floor. Scarjaw is pinned under another guard. Another half-dozen inmates cower or lie face down, hands over their heads, trying to avoid baton blows. Someone grabs me from behind, barking, "Get down!" I'm too dizzy to resist. My limbs tremble. My mind buzzes with panic. The floor spins and everything tilts. The fluorescent light overhead flickers. My stomach churns. My ribs spasm in pain. Then darkness creeps at the edges of my vision. The guard shouts muffled, "No, no." I fade out, the last image that of Joe crawling toward me, shouting my name. I come to in the prison clinic, disoriented and nauseous. The overhead lamp is harsh, shining in my eyes. My entire body hurts. I move to sit up, but a wave of dizziness knocks me back. A metal taste lingers on my tongue. Blood, maybe, or just dryness. My face throbs. Ribs protest with every breath. The memory of the cafeteria riot jolts me, my heart lurching. A nurse in pale scrubs appears in my peripheral vision, pressing a gentle hand on my shoulder. "Easy? You fainted." My voice cracks. "Well, where am I?" "Prison infirmary," she answers quietly. "You were brought in unconscious after that cafeteria brawl." The pain in my side intensifies. "My ribs," I manage, wincing. She nods. "You took some nasty hits. Doctor wants to x-ray you for fractures. You likely have bruising. Your face is battered too." A sympathetic glint crosses her eyes. "We'll get you through it." I swallow, my throat raw. "What about Joe?" "The others." Her mouth sets in a line. "A few injuries all around. The guards subdued the riot eventually, but we can't talk details. You need to focus on healing." My head spins. A riot. All that? Just to tear me down because someone out there wants me in misery. My pulse spikes with anger and fear. They said someone paid them. They wanted me to suffer. The nurse offers no comment, just fusses with a monitor beep. The door opens, and a weary doctor in glasses steps in, flipping through a file. "Miss Thomas, let's check your vitals." He sets down the folder, pressing a stethoscope to my chest, instructing me to breathe. Every inhale sends a stab through my ribs, tears pricking my eyes. He notes something on a chart. Then, with a reassuring nod, he gestures to the nurse. "We're scheduling an x-ray, and we'll keep you here under observation for a bit." He glances at me. "Anything else you need to tell us? Headaches? Dizziness?" I close my eyes, trying to gauge. "Dizzy when I woke up. My jaw hurts. Ribs feel like they're on fire. Otherwise, I'm just exhausted." He scribbles. "Okay, we'll handle that. We need a quick blood sample. Standard procedure for any new admission here with head trauma." The nurse reappears with a kit, and my arm is pricked. I barely register it, the throbbing in my face overshadowing everything else. Then the nurse frowns at some readouts on the machine. She checks my chart, flipping pages. "Miss Thomas, when was your last menstrual cycle?" she asks suddenly, voice neutral yet pointed. My heart stutters. I'm not sure," I answer, confusion stirring. "Everything's been so chaotic. I haven't been tracking." She casts a quick glance at the doctor, who meets my eyes, eyebrow raised. "Are you possibly pregnant?" he asks carefully. A cold shock ripples through me. Pregnant? My mind scrambles. I recall the messy timeline. Jacob and I last together physically not so long before my arrest, but we'd had bigger crises overshadowing everything. With the stress of the trial, prison, I never paused to notice I'd missed my period. Could I? Before I can respond, the nurse sighs. We ran a quick test with the blood sample. It indicates you're pregnant. The words punch the air from my lungs. I stare, disbelief swirling. That's not, but my throat closes. Pregnant here? Locked up on murder charges? How can that be? The doctor picks up the chart. The result's conclusive. We want to confirm with additional tests, but you're showing positive for pregnancy hormones. My mind reels, heart racing. I didn't even realize the stress, the missed periods. Oh God. My arms start trembling. For a beat, the riot injuries, the battered jaw, all that fades, replaced by a tidal wave of shock. Pregnant in prison. The nurse's face is sympathetic, but that only makes it worse. The doctor clears his throat. You'll need obstetric care, and we must consider protective custody if there's a threat to you. The prison has protocols for pregnant inmates. A dizzy swirl. I can't be pregnant right now. Panic cracks my voice. My eyes water and I choke back tears. The nurse sets a gentle hand on my shoulder, but I wrench away, overwhelmed. Everything's a mess. I'm facing a murder trial. How? My breathing ragged. I bury my face in my good hand, the other pressed to my bruised ribs. This can't be real. A riot of emotions surges. Heartbreak for Jacob if he hears this. Fury at the injustice that we're parted like this. Fear because the father of my baby is testifying in a trial that might condemn me. My chest tightens so fiercely I wonder if I'll faint again. The doctor tries to be calm. Take slow breaths. I know it's overwhelming. We'll keep you here in the infirmary for a day or two, monitor your injuries, and do a proper exam for the pregnancy. Meanwhile, if you fear for your safety, let the warden know you request protective custody. Yes, the nurse adds gently. Being pregnant can grant you certain protections, especially after a violent incident like this. You shouldn't be in general population if there's a contract on you. The reality hits me anew. I was assaulted, I fainted, now I discover I'm carrying Jacob's child. My eyes fill with tears that I can't hold back, so I let them fall in silent, shaking sobs. My battered face stings, my ribs ache, but none of that compares to the emotional blow. Pregnant. I sniff, raising my head. I do want protection. Someone's targeting me. If it wasn't for Joe and the others, I could have lost. I trail off, the magnitude of nearly being beaten to death while pregnant. A swirl of gratitude for my bunkmate and the inmates who intervened stirs among the fear. The doctor nods. I'll file a report with the warden. They'll consider your request for protective custody. In the meantime, rest. We'll run more tests, x-rays for your ribs, an ultrasound for the pregnancy. I release a shaky exhale. Okay, my voice sounds foreign in my ears. The nurse fusses with the IV at my arm, hooking me to a mild painkiller. Another wave of tears hits me, but I fight them down. Thank you, I manage, for not just ignoring me. She smiles sadly. We're medical staff, Miss Thomas. We want you healthy, baby included. Then her expression grows firm. But you must request the warden's involvement soon. They might relocate you to a safer unit. I close my eyes. The word baby echoes in my mind. Jacob. My heart clenches. He has no idea I'm pregnant. We parted abruptly, me arrested, him reeling from his parents' sabotage. Now 1,000,000 more complications pile on. Will I even get to tell him? Or will I rot here for a crime I didn't commit, raising a child behind bars? Tears threaten again, but overshadowing that heartbreak is a flicker of fierce determination. I have to fight. For me, for this baby. No matter who orchestrates these attacks, Trixa, Marcus, or some stone-hating zealot, I won't let them break me. My jaw sets, ignoring the throbbing bruise. I'll do it. I say, voice quavering but resolute. I'll request protective custody. The nurse nods, stepping away to gather forms. The doctor leaves to arrange my x-ray. I'm left momentarily alone in the stark infirmary bed. Monitors beeping softly. Pain radiates with every breath, but a new wave of adrenaline surges. I'm pregnant. I have a child to protect. Conflicting emotions swirl. Fear, confusion, heartbreak, a faint thread of hope. Jacob. If only I could speak to him. I recall his visits before the assault, how he promised to exonerate me. Does he suspect I might be pregnant? Probably not. This stress overshadowed everything, including my own body's signals. I shudder, picturing how this changes everything about my trial, my possible sentencing. The squeak of footsteps interrupts my spinning thoughts. A guard I vaguely recognize from earlier stands in the doorway, baton at her hip. She eyes me on the bed, arms folded. Doctor says you need protective custody. I swallow, forcing composure. Yes, I was attacked. They threatened me, and I just found out I'm pregnant. My heart hammers saying it out loud. Her brow arches slightly, but she only nods. We'll talk to the warden. Meanwhile, you're staying here in the clinic for observation. Don't wander off. She scoffs at her own remark, as if I could wander anywhere. Then she leaves. Slumping back onto the thin pillow, I stare at the ceiling's fluorescent panel, exhaustion dragging at my limbs. Attacked, beaten, fainted baby. The day's events swirl, overwhelming. At some point, footsteps approach again, quieter. I glance over and see Jo peeking from behind the door, face bruised, sporting a bandage on her cheek. Relief floods me. Jo, I whisper, tears pricking again. The guard behind her allows her a quick moment. Make it fast, the guard growls. Jo edges closer to the bed. Are you okay? She asks, voice tight with concern. Heard you blacked out in the cafeteria. They took you to the clinic, said your injuries were serious. My throat tightens. I'm banged up, but I'll live. They want me under observation. Did you get in trouble for the riot? She waves it off. Some disciplinary crap. But Tisha and I explained you were cornered, so we just intervened. The guards know Margot and her gang started it. They might get solitary. Possibly you'll get a pass. She meets my eyes. I was worried about you. Emotion surges. Even in this brutal place, I have allies. Thank you, I whisper. You might have saved my life. Jo shakes her head, embarrassment flickering across her features. We watch out for each other, that's all. Besides, I don't want a bunch of criminals beating you to death before the trial. Then who'll share my bunk's top bed? She tries a half smile. I manage a raspy laugh that dissolves into a wince from my bruised ribs. Remind me not to do that again. She glances at my bandaged jaw, her expression shading with sympathy. Then her eyes flick to the nurse behind her. They said you found out something else, but the staff is hush-hush about it? My stomach flips. The nurse must have told Jo, or maybe rumors spread fast. My voice trembles, deciding to admit to her as she's one of my allies here. Yeah, I'm pregnant. Her eyes widen, genuine shock. What? Holy, for real? I nod, tears threatening. They tested my blood. I didn't even realize. I've been so stressed I never noticed missed cycles. My throat constricts. Now I'm stuck in prison, facing a murder charge, and I'm carrying a baby I never planned. Jo looks speechless for a moment. Then she exhales. Wow. That changes everything, huh? Keep it a secret. You gotta keep safe. No more brawls, no more risking your life. Request protective custody if you can. This place isn't kind to pregnant inmates. My chest tightens. I already did. They said they'll talk to the warden, but I'm scared. If someone outside is paying to have me hurt, pregnant or not, might not matter to them. Her lips thin. Maybe the warden can isolate you until the trial. You do not want another run-in with Margot's gang. If Trixa or Marcus really orchestrated this, they won't stop. A wave of sorrow hits me. Marcus, my father, or Trixa, my sister, wanting me destroyed. The bitterness is suffocating. Yeah, I say softly. I'll do whatever it takes. The guard behind Joe clears her throat, stepping in. That's enough. You gotta go. She nudges Joe's shoulder. She needs rest. Joe nods, shooting me a final concerned look. Hang in there, nurse. If you need anything, let me know. She slips out, leaving me alone in the sterile clinic bed, monitors beeping. My ribs ache, my face throbs, and the swirl of new reality. My pregnancy looms large. I press a hand lightly to my abdomen, though it's far too early to feel anything. The tears come unbidden, and I let them fall. Everything about my situation seems impossible. An accused murderer, living in prison, trying to prove my innocence. Now add a baby to the mix. How will I tell Jacob? Will I even get to see him again if the trial doesn't go my way? The nurse returns, checking my vitals, adjusting my IV. She offers a small smile. We'll do an ultrasound tomorrow. See how far along you might be. For now, rest. The warden's been notified about your request for protective custody. I nod, exhaustion heavy on my limbs. Thank you, I whisper. What's your name? Kayla, she says. I'm the night shift nurse here. Try to sleep if you can. She dims the overhead light, leaving me with a single lamp. The beep of the IV pump lulls me. I close my eyes, letting the day's events replay like a nightmare. The fists, the pain, the moment they told me I'm pregnant. My breath hitches. This can't be how my life goes, but it is, for now. Time crawls. Occasionally, Kayla checks on me or another patient is wheeled in. The clang of metal doors filters from the corridor, muffled shouts echoing. I can't quite drift off, my ribs throbbing with each breath. So I stare at the ceiling, mind swirling. Marcus, Trixa, or someone else wants me broken. I vow not to let them succeed, not now with the baby. A shaky determination ignites. I'll survive this. I'll fight the charges and keep my child safe. Eventually, exhaustion wins. My eyes slide shut. My last thought is of Jacob, hoping, praying he's testifying in a way that might free me, or at least buys us time to expose the real culprit. If everything works out, we can face the future together, unknowingly forging a new life for the child I only just discovered. If it doesn't, I swallow the sob that threatens, one day at a time. I slip into a fitful sleep, battered body needing rest, uncertain heart needing answers that no one here can give. The beep of machines and the distant hum of prison life cradle me in uneasy dreams. But beneath the fear, a fragile spark flickers. A fight to protect this tiny life inside me, to cling to the hope that soon I'll be exonerated, and that those who orchestrated my misery, paying people to attack me, will fail in their twisted mission. At least for tonight, I allow myself that faint glimmer of possibility, because if I don't, I'll drown in the darkness that threatens to swallow me whole.
You think you can catch me? You think you can tame me?
Oh, I know I can. And you know it too, baby.
I gotta tell you, you're not the first to try.
But don't worry, baby. I'll be the last.
With sass like that, maybe I'll be the one that needs to tame you.
Let's cut to the chase, big boy. What you selling me?
Your appetite is big AF. I have just the thing that'll satisfy you.
Oh, really? And what's that?
Over 120 hours of romance audiobooks. Brought to you by Tyler Walker Romances in the Big AF Audio Bundle.
120 hours? That sounds amazing.
Your knees won't work afterwards if I do my job right.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Well, I can keep this promise. Because these audiobooks are unabridged with all the spicy scenes that will make you put your earbuds on. You know, Tyla can get freaky because she marked the bundle down by 69% for a limited time.
I can't wait to take this bundle for a ride.
Visit TylaWalker.com and get this audio bundle. Just don't start listening if you're going to be cooking dinner. Because you might just forget to feed your family.
TylaWalker.com. Escape your life with Tyla. Chapter 3, 117. Nyla. I feel a furious flutter in my chest the moment the guard unlocks the heavy steel door leading to the far side of the prison. My breath catches. Am I truly about to see Jacob in private for more than a rushed 5 minutes across a scratched plexiglass partition? It's surreal. Every footstep echoes in this rarely used corridor. My newly assigned protective custody guard guiding me with clipped instructions. The hall smells of stale cigarette smoke and disinfectant. And somewhere far off, a clang of metal doors reverberates. My ribs ache with each step, a remnant of the beating I took from Margot's gang. The bruises on my face twinge whenever I flex my jaw, reminding me of how vulnerable I am here. But I force my focus forward, ignoring the pain. This is the day I've been clinging to since the riot. Jacob managed to buy us a conjugal visit. No mere 10-minute chat, but actual hours of privacy. Contraband though it may be. The price in hush money must have been astronomical, but Jacob never shies from such lengths when it comes to saving me from the worst of this place. The guard halts before a thick, dented door with rust creeping along the edges. "In here," he mutters, scanning an ID card over a battered device. The lock clicks, and he pushes the door open. I step through, my heart in my throat. It's a small, dimly lit room that's clearly not an official visitation suite. No sign of the standard table, chairs, or security cameras I'd normally expect. Instead, there's a plain, sagging bed with clean, if threadbare, sheets, a lone wooden chair in the corner, and a single overhead light bulb that casts weak shadows across the gray walls. The place smells faintly of dust and cheap disinfectant, but it's miles better than the drafty, heavily monitored spaces where typical visits happen. At least here, we can be alone. Jacob stands at the far end, near a makeshift sink. The instant I see him, my chest tightens painfully. He's wearing a simple dark polo and jeans, but the worry lines etching his face age him beyond his years. He spins around at the sound of the door, and our eyes lock. For a moment, I forget the bruises, the pregnancy swirling in my mind, the entire fiasco outside this room. There is only him, Jacob Stone, meeting my gaze with mingled anguish and relief. 3 hours, the guard announces from behind me, his voice gruff. Don't do anything stupid. Understood? He steps out, pulling the door shut with a decisive clang. A bolt slides, locking us in. The metallic echo sets my pulse racing, a mixture of excitement, dread, and longing. I manage a shaky exhale. 3 hours. 3 precious hours of something resembling freedom together. Nyla, Jacob says softly. He crosses the small space in 2 strides, arms opening. I don't hesitate. I move into his embrace, ignoring the jolt of pain from my ribs. My eyes flutter shut as I press my face into his chest, inhaling the warm, clean scent of his shirt. For a moment, I just let the tears slip, not sobbing, but letting them fall silently. Weeks in prison, battered from an assault, weighed down by new secrets. It all rushes out in a swirl of heartbreak and relief. He rubs my back with the gentlest touch, mindful of my injuries. Oh God, Nyla, I'm so sorry, he breathes. I should have come sooner. I wanted to, but I had to arrange this discreetly. Don't apologize, I choke out, voice muffled against his shirt. You're here. That's all that matters. We stand there for a long minute, entwined in the middle of this shabby room. The single light bulb buzzes overhead, but the hush feels nearly sacred. Eventually, I lift my head, letting my gaze roam over him. He's got dark circles under his eyes, and he's lost weight. My heart squeezes. You look exhausted, I whisper. What's happening outside? He gives a humorless chuckle. Too much. The hospital meltdown, your trial, press swarming. But I'm more worried about you. You're bruised, battered. I heard about the riot. Memories of fists slamming into my ribs flash in my mind. I swallow. I've been placed under protective custody. That's why they let me out to come here. They figure I might be safer there, especially given my voice falters. Given the pregnancy. I haven't told him yet, and my pulse hammers at the thought of dropping that bombshell. I brace myself. He studies my face, noticing my hesitation. Hey, he murmurs. Sit with me? He gestures to the bed. I nod, letting him guide me the few steps over. We settle on the edge, side by side. I lean my head on his shoulder, careful not to press too hard. His warmth seeps into me, a balm against the bruising. We remain like that, hearts pounding, letting the moment breathe. Finally, he reaches for my hand. I hate seeing you hurt, he says hoarsely. I tried bribing half the prison staff to keep you safe, but apparently that wasn't enough. Some things can't be stopped, I reply, lips twisting in a bitter half smile. Whoever paid Margot's gang wants me in misery. It's either my father, Trixa, or some other twisted player. My stomach churns at the memory of Margot's threats. They nearly succeeded. His jaw clenches. I promise, once you're cleared, once we prove your innocence, I'll find whoever orchestrated that. They'll pay. The anger shining in his eyes is new. Jacob always used to prefer diplomacy. But the fear for me has lit something fiercer. My heart warms, even though the situation is dire. I believe you, I whisper. Then my voice shakes. Jacob, there's more I need to tell you. Something I discovered after the riot. His expression shifts, laced with alarm. What is it? More threats? I swallow hard. No, I'm pregnant. The words flutter out with a tremor. My pulse roars, each second stretching as I watch his face. His eyes widen, confusion warring with a glimmer of hope. Pregnant? He echoes as if tasting the word. But how? Obviously I know how, but we never realized. Are you sure? I nod, tears stinging. A blood test in the infirmary? My cycle was off and I didn't notice. Too much stress. My free hand rests on my belly, still flat, but now the knowledge pulses like a hidden heartbeat. They confirmed it. I'm pregnant with your child, Jacob. For a heartbeat, he just stares. Shock etched into every line of his face. Then raw emotion surges, and he pulls me into a careful hug, burying his face in my hair. Oh, Nyla, he breathes, voice cracking. God, I'm so happy, but I can't believe this is happening when we're here. Tears spill over, matching his. I know, I say shakily. It's surreal, terrifying. I'm locked up, facing a murder charge, battered from a prison brawl, and I'm pregnant. He presses gentle kisses to my temple. We'll fix it, everything. You won't raise our child in here. I refuse. I'll do whatever it takes to get you out. He exhales, voice thick with a heady mix of joy and despair. Damn it. I'd give anything to have learned about this under normal circumstances, like in our apartment or a real hospital checkup. Pain slices through me at the thought of that lost normalcy. Me too, I manage, clasping his hand. But we don't get that. All we can do is fight. The staff here has me under protective custody, partly because of the pregnancy. It's safer, but what if I'm still convicted? Could I end up giving birth in prison? He shakes his head fiercely. No, I won't let that happen. The lawyers are on it. Even if the worst comes to pass, I'll push for an appeal. I'll push for bail. He clenches my hand as if trying to anchor me to hope. I'm not giving up. Not on you, not on our baby. A wave of emotion wells up, and I lean in, capturing his lips in a kiss that tastes of tears and longing. He kisses me back softly, mindful of my bruises. The overhead bulb buzzes again, a reminder of how fragile this bubble is. He breaks the kiss, cupping my cheek. Does it hurt? He murmurs, eyes flicking to the purple discoloration across my jawline. A little, I admit. But I'll live. I have to. My fingertips brush his collarbone, the warmth of his skin under the thin shirt. We have 3 hours, Jacob. Let's not waste them. His eyes fill with sadness and a yearning deeper than I can articulate. 3 hours, he echoes. Not enough, but it's something. We share a moment of silence, letting the weight of everything settle. Then we talk in hushed voices, clinging to normalcy. He tells me about the meltdown at Stone Hospital, Julia stepping in, staff morale shaky. I mention how the staff in the prison's infirmary forced me to rest, how I'm eating carefully for the baby. He's relieved, though worry lines remain carved into his face. Eventually, our conversation lulls, replaced by the gravitational pull between us, an unspoken need for physical closeness. We shift on the bed, me lying back gently, him leaning over me. My ribs twinge, but I refuse to let the pain rob me of this. We share soft, searching kisses, exploring each other's bodies in a delicate dance of passion and caution. His hands cradle my bruised sides, stroking lightly. My heart hammers in my ears, every sense heightened. The scratch of the prison-issued sheets, the warm press of his thigh against mine, the gentle hush of our breathing. I arch up, ignoring the discomfort, wanting to feel him. His kisses trail down my neck, each one a reminder of the life we had outside these walls. Emotions tangle with desire, tears with moans, as we cling to each other in near desperate need. If we only have 3 hours, we want every second to count. Time passes in a haze of renewed intimacy and whispered promises. We lose track of minutes. Half an hour? An hour? We hold each other, drifting from passionate love-making to quiet conversation, to more soft kisses. He maps my bruises with careful lips, apologizing for each black and blue mark. I stroke his hair, telling him not to blame himself. Eventually, we lay side by side, me nestling into his chest. The dull overhead bulb is our only illumination, and the battered walls seem to fade into the periphery. I let my palm rest on my abdomen, the idea of a tiny life there still shocking. He covers my hand with his. We chat about baby names, half joking. It's absurd, but we laugh quietly, tears shining in both our eyes. If it's a girl, how about something strong? He suggests, voice thick with suppressed emotion. Like Aurora or Felicity? I give a shaky laugh. We can't plan this now. I don't know how far along I am. I haven't even had a real scan. Everything's so uncertain. He kisses my forehead. I don't care. Let me dream a little. Let me imagine that we are free of these nightmares. I close my eyes, pressing closer to him. The swirl of heartbreak, love, and fear is overwhelming. Okay, I whisper. Let's dream a little. Jacob's mouth crashes into mine, all teeth in desperation. I claw at the hem of his shirt, shoving fabric upward until my palms find the scorching heat of his skin. His muscles tense under my touch, a low growl vibrating against my lips. Christ, Nyla! His hands dive for my waistband, popping the button free. The zipper rasps as he yanks my pants down my hips. Cold air licks my thighs before his palm slaps my butt, sharp and possessive. I gasp, arching into the sting. He spins me toward the rickety table, wood creaking as he bends me over it. His breath scalds the back of my neck. You sure? Rough fingers dig into my hip bone, holding me in place. Even like this? Even here? I grind my butt against the hard line of his arousal straining through his jeans. I'm not made of glass, Jacob. Screw me. I hate to put a stop to a good time, but it looks like we've hit this platform's limit for spiciness.
This platform's got some rules we have to play by if we want to keep giving you these stories for free.
And trust me, this scene isn't something you want to miss.
While we can't get into all the details here, you can still dive into the full, uncut version at tylawalker.com.
Miss Tyla has an entire collection of unabridged audiobooks and ebooks waiting for you.
And the best part? You can treat yourself with 40% off when you use the code SAVE40.
That's right. You'll save on any digital product, even bundles that are already discounted.
Miss Tyla would never let anyone feel the kind of disappointment you must be feeling right now.
So why wait? Treat yourself with Miss Tyla. We collapse against the table, his sweat-slicked chest pressed to my back. Still tastes like freedom, he mutters, nipping my earlobe. Jacob, I say, catching his gaze, I need you to believe me fully. I wasn't anywhere near your parents that night. I truly just went home. I can't prove it, but I swear, he looks pained. I do believe you, he breathes, sliding a hand along my arm. I'm sorry for asking you to confirm it. The prosecution's hammered me with questions, undermining my convictions, but I won't let them sow doubt in me again. Relief loosens a tight knot in my chest. Thank you, I whisper, because if you believed even for a second that I killed them, I shudder. It would break me. He shakes his head fiercely. Never. We'll show the jury the bigger picture, that you're being framed. I won't let them bury you or our baby. A wave of gratitude and sorrow washes over me. I lean in for a gentle kiss, letting it linger. Then I tuck my head under his chin, content for a moment in the steady rise and fall of his chest. Time drips by. We savor every second, talking in low murmurs. He updates me on the hospital again, how Julia's forging new alliances, how staff morale might be improving. My mind flicks to Lori, my best friend. I wonder if she's pushing from the outside, helping somehow. The swirl of everyday life outside these walls is dizzying to imagine. We drift into another hush, just breathing in each other's presence. But the hush is fragile. A sharp knock on the door sends a jolt through my body. My heart plunges, dread reclaiming my chest. It can't be near 3 hours yet, can it? Time has felt so slippery. Jacob sits up, tension in his posture. No, he says, voice tight. We still have time. Another knock, more insistent, followed by a muffled voice. Stone, Thomas, wrap it up. 5 minutes left. He curses under his breath, pressing a hand over his eyes. I inhale, tears threatening. So maybe not the entire 3 hours. Maybe the guard shaved off time or wants to avoid suspicion. The reprieve is ending. We both scramble off the bed, hurrying to straighten our clothes, me smoothing down my prison uniform. My ribs flare with pain, but I block it out, focusing on Jacob's face. His eyes mirror my heartbreak. Before we say anything, the door creaks open a crack. A guard's shadowy figure stands there, baton in hand. Time's up, he snaps. Move it. Jacob and I share a desperate look. He pulls me into one last embrace, hugging me so gently, tears welling in his eyes. Nyla, I love you, he whispers. Stay safe, please. Protect the baby. I'll keep fighting out there. My chest constricts. I cling to him. I love you too, I breathe. Thank you for this. Don't let them turn you against me. Never, he vows, voice husky. Then he presses a final tender kiss to my lips, so full of longing that I nearly crumble. The guard steps in fully now, grabbing Jacob's arm. Let's go, he says, not unkindly, but firmly. Another guard reaches for me, guiding me toward the door. My tears spill as I'm pulled away from Jacob's warmth. I glance back once, memorizing the sorrow in his face, the parted lips as if he's about to call my name. But the guard's hold is insistent, ushering me out of that dingy room, away from Jacob's presence. My heart screams in protest. I lock eyes with Jacob for a heartbeat longer. Then we're separated by the door, the guard bolting it behind me. The corridor is dim, the overhead lights flickering. My face is damp, and my mind reels with the whiplash of being thrown back into this harsh reality. The guard says nothing, just gestures me forward. I want to sob or scream, but I force myself to keep it together. This is prison. Any show of vulnerability is a risk. I'll let myself crumble when I'm alone under the infirmary sheets. We move through a labyrinth of locked gates until we arrive back at the medical wing's protective custody hallway. Another guard checks my ID, nods, and opens the door. The pungent smell of antiseptic greets me, along with that same battered nurse's station. My bunk might be somewhere in the corner, behind a curtain. I glance around. Arms wrapped over my aching ribs, mind spinning from the abrupt end to that conjugal. It was a stolen moment of joy and heartbreak, overshadowed by 1,000 uncertainties. I press a hand to my belly, remembering Jacob's vow to protect the baby in me. Part of me wonders if I can truly endure the final stages of this trial, battered physically and emotionally, pregnant and powerless. Kayla, the nurse, sees me and rushes over, concern in her eyes. "You okay, Miss Thomas? You look pale." I muster a half smile that probably looks more like a grimace. "Just exhausted," my voice quavers. Conjugal visit ended. Her gaze flicks to the guard behind me, who merely shrugs and heads off. She offers a sympathetic nod. "I understand. Let's get you back to bed. You need rest." I let her lead me to a small curtained area where a flimsy mattress awaits. My tears threaten again, but I blink them away. As Kayla steps out to fetch water, I sink onto the bed, burying my face in my hands. The room is quiet, except for the beep of monitors and occasional footsteps. My mind replays the warmth of Jacob's embrace, the wonder and fear in his face when I told him about the pregnancy, the heartbreak as we parted. Each memory is a dagger to my chest. When will I see him again? Another bribe weeks from now? Or maybe never, if the trial slams me with a guilty verdict. I curl on my side, ignoring the protest from my ribs. I stroke a palm over my lower abdomen, the smallest gesture, as if acknowledging the life inside. I'm so scared, but a faint glimmer of hope lingers. Jacob is out there, fighting for me. That has to count for something. I recall how he whispered he wouldn't let me rot here. If anyone can overturn the rigged evidence, it's him and the lawyers. And now there's more than just my own life at stake. There's a tiny future that might never see the outside world if I fail. The sob that erupts from me is equal parts terror and fierce resolve. I will not let them take everything from me. I bury my face in the pillow, sobbing in muffled silence. The overhead light flickers. Through the tears, I vow to hold on to the memory of Jacob's arms, the promise in his eyes, no matter who orchestrates my suffering. Marcus, Trixa, or some unknown enemy, I can't let them steal our child's future. Time crawls. Kayla eventually brings water and a mild sedative for the night, offering a gentle pat to my shoulder. I swallow the medication, letting the numbness settle in. My thoughts swirl, but I cling to the last few hours, the taste of Jacob's lips, the tears in his eyes, the warmth of our bodies twined together. For that short window, we were us again, almost free from these bars. I slowly drift into fitful sleep, images dancing behind my eyelids. The baby, Jacob's anguished face, the riot in the cafeteria. If there's any shred of comfort, it's that we had those hours, that closeness. Even if the guard yanks him away, they can't erase what we shared, or the child growing within me. And so I tell myself a story of hope, that I'll one day lie in a real bed, in a real home, with Jacob and our baby safe. The present is bleak, yes, but we have each other, even if parted by steel doors, and a system that wants to crush us. Hold on, I remind myself, letting the medication pull me into darkness. Hold on for just a little longer.